Of this weekend, Super Wildcard weekend. Here's a super big question in Baltimore. Are the Ravens going to have Lamar Jackson before Sunday night in that game against Cincinnati?
Based on the people I've spoken with, and my colleague Mike Garafolo has spoken with as well, not looking good for Lamar Jackson, which is, I would say, a little bit of a surprise. If you go back, December 4th was the last time he played, battling a PCL sprain, and I know there was so many people involved who thought, all right, well, if Lamar's not going to play for the regular season, surely he will be ready for the playoffs. However, my understanding, this is something sources have said over the course of the past 24 hours, is that Lamar Jackson faces an uphill battle to be able to get out on the field in the playoffs against the Cincinnati Bengals. He is working, he is trying, he's rehabbing. The knee is just not quite right. Now, this has been shrouded in some secrecy, so look, there's always a chance anything happens with Lamar Jackson. Everyone leaves that little out, but I would be surprised based on what I know if he practices today, which means we could see another week of Tyler Snoop Huntley for the Baltimore Ravens. Meanwhile, the Ravens also got some actual really good news yesterday. Roquan Smith, their all-pro Pro Bowl linebacker who they famously traded for midseason, changed the face of their defense, took it from not very good to extremely good, got paid. According to his advisor, St. Omni, he gets a 5-year, $100 million deal, $60 million in total guarantees, $45 million fully guaranteed, the highest paid off-the-ball linebacker in the NFL. This is a huge deal for the Ravens. Also leaves the franchise tag open for a quarterback, Lamar Jackson, maybe later in the offseason.
Oh, that's a little interesting way to look at that. Ian Rappaport, we appreciate it. That is surprising news about Lamar Jackson this morning. We're going to talk more about him. And frankly, the quarterback situation for the playoffs in the AFC is interesting. Put the Dolphins on that list as well. Rap Sheet, thanks. Talk to you in a little bit.
Jamie, something stinks about this Lamar story.
New York City, it's a beautiful Wednesday. It's January 11th. I'm Jamie Erdahl. It's Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, and Jason McCourty. How is everybody doing?
Yeah.
Playoff weekend, baby.
Super wild card.
Super wild card weekend.
Isn't it just wild card weekend?
No, super
Flex on him, Kyle. Flex on him,
yeah.
Kyle. I like it.
I'm ready.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's get to Lee Block.
Lee
We've got a lot to talk about today. Oh, here we go. 'Twas the night before Super Wild Card Weekend. No, it was the night before Christmas. And Minnesota's Greg Joseph delivered a game-winning 61-yard field goal to defeat the Giants. It was actually his second game-winning field goal in 2 weeks. That was back in Week 16. Now, these two teams take a reset for a wild card rematch, and everyone's favorite quarterback, Dad, is hoping it won't take any late-game heroics to get the win this time around. Cousins, of course, Kirk Cousins, who we're talking about, is 1-2 in his career as a starter in the playoffs. And he would very much like to change that record, even that record on Sunday, change the narrative maybe behind his play in big moments. That wild card win, let's say it happens for the Vikings against the Giants. What do you think that would mean for Kirk Cousins, Peter?
I think it's huge. I don't think it's as big as we might think, though, because he's already gotten the playoff win, and he did it in way more adverse situation. This is 2019 playoffs. I've brought this up many times. Everyone says Kirk Cousins can't win a big game. Kirk Cousins, the underdog Vikings, went into New Orleans, into the Superdome against a Saints team that was absolutely rolling, and he hit Kyle Rudolph on this touchdown in the back of the end zone in overtime to eliminate a Sean Payton, Drew Brees, red-hot defense led Saints team. Okay, but you look at that date in the top left corner, that's now 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Then you get to 5 years, then you get to 6. You don't get that many. Cousins is not a 25-year-old quarterback. He's not. To me, it's if not when, if not now, when. Like, this is a good Vikings team. You've got a home game. The NFC is wide open. Everyone would say, well, no, the Eagles crushed them and the Cowboys crushed them. We're in the playoffs. Have you seen the Cowboys play lately? Seen the Eagles play lately? I love Brock Purdy, but the 49ers don't have an absolute sure thing when it comes to experience in big games. You look around the quarterback landscape, like, a win here, okay, got that out of the way. We beat a good Giants team, and that's now my second career playoff win, and now we can build. And hey, guess what? We had a pretty good year. We're 14-4 right now.
Yeah.
To me, it's the perfect way to silence critics on one end, that you can't win the big one, and on the other end, hey, a little bit of confidence. Let's go on the road. We could beat anybody. Let's rock. I think Cousins' win in New Orleans gets overlooked because it's it's been so long. I think this re-engages that conversation of, wait a second, maybe Cousins can win the big game.
Yeah.
And you know what? As we're getting closer to the game and everyone's picking the Giants, I kind of like the Vikings in this one.
A lot of heat on the Giants.
It's a huge game, and I think, to your point, it's a huge game because what it sets up the next round. Like, we know he's won this type of game, and I think more important than that, he's going against a New York Giants team that they're expected to beat. Like, the Minnesota Vikings have won 13